Now let's see if the bot works. Okay, I can hear myself. That's great, but that's not exactly what I want. I want to know if the bot works in Discord. No? Nothing. Streamcord, you failed me. What are you doing? Oh, you did something! Oh, it worked! That's not a ping, though. You've half failed me, Streamcord. Come on now. Well, that's fine. Okay, I have that paused. Then I have to go and fix YouTube. Should I even do YouTube? Yeah, why not? It's gonna take a minute, though. Hello, Ori. How's it going? What did I call the stream again? Okay. You know, honestly, I could just not bother. Yeah, I could just not bother. It's gonna take too long. It's not that important. Although I want more people to know. Does that matter, though? Maybe not. At least we got music, though, so it's not just me sitting here. I should do this more often. I should probably put the music in, like, every scene, so it's not just silence like what happened last time. Which, by the way, I thought to do that again, because, like, I want to actually complete the things that I start instead of half doing things and then doing something else. But then again, nobody really cared, including me. So it's like, well then, who are you doing it for? So, well, make it a community post. Well, I mean, this could take 2 hours, or it could take a half hour and be fine. Actually, I'm supposed to be pressing the other red button. Okay, there we go. So, what are we doing today? You can probably look at the screen and think, this is going to be a very objective explanation of these are your favorite things. Slightly too loud. That's what I thought would happen. Turn it down like that. There we go. Now it's just slightly in the background. I guess I could lower it a little bit. I changed it so it just sounds like how it does on my end, but yeah, that's fine. So, first of all, you can probably look at the screen and think this is an objective explanation of what Ibex likes. No, this is probably a 2 hour... This is basically just a 2 hour excuse for me to talk about lore. I'm sorry. I called the stream... Oh, first of all, we're streaming. Say hi, YouTube. But this is an idea that I had maybe a few months ago to make a tier list of how good these games are based on how everyday life is for the average person. Like, lore-wise, how hard is this place, actually? Hello, Maine. How's it going? So, I don't want to hear anything, anybody saying this is an objective list. It's not an objective list. It's how much would I be okay living here or not? That's what this is. I also did not mean for Among Us to be in here. I thought I took you out. And to clarify here, I don't mean, for example, if we start with Stardew Valley here, okay? What I don't mean is that how good is life after you just inherited a very large portion of land that's the size of half of a town? No, I'm saying if you woke up here one day, would you be okay? And let me tell you, Stardew Valley, I ordered this intentionally. This is very good. This is very good. We just S immediately. All right. There's food everywhere. If you wake up, you can't get a job. There's no hotel in Pelican Town. There's food everywhere. There's fresh water just like a 1-minute walk away. I think there's water in the desert, actually. We're good. We're totally fine. There are a few caveats, okay? You know, everybody's nice, so there's also that. There are a few caveats in that there is a 1,000-year war going on underground, and there are a few, you know, there's a corrupt corporation, there's a possibly corrupt mayor, there's a, what was the other thing? I mean, there's a few, like, sorcerers flying around causing trouble, you know? And there's some, like, spirit apples with legs. That part's kind of weird. But let's be real, all of those things are kind of what happens in real life, so... And the people are nicer. Yeah, it's literally just America, thank you. That's what it is. But the people are nicer, you know? Immediate S tier. Might be the only S tier. Just letting you know. Animal Well. I did not play this to completion. I kind of just streamed it a few times. I should also mention when I do these, I didn't do Stardew Valley in any videos or any streams or anything. I just played it. I did a couple worlds over a few years, like maybe even before 2020. Animal Well I did not finish because the last puzzle got pretty rough. I think we spent like 2 streams just trying to find it, how to do it. Couldn't do it. But I know enough that this place, it's just like a big forest. You wake up, you're just a random little animal. I don't know what they eat, but you know, it's just a weird forest again. It's like Stardew, except it's not civilized yet, you know? And there's also weird spirit apples and cats. Not sure where to put it though. I mean it's dangerous. Maybe it's like low S. Top A, low S. I should also mention, actually, part of the whole idea why I came up with this weird thing is because if you know my OC in the corner, he's what I like to call an extra fictional. So he does this stuff. He just goes into different places and just hangs out and figures out how they work. So this kind of stuff has just been rolling around in my head for years. But to make it less scuffed, I have an actually like deep explanation on these next two. And the reason why the 2 Hollow Knight kingdoms are together is because I think there's a big distinction between the 2. You might say, okay, they're both just like really not well-off kingdoms. Like you wake up there's an infection going on, you know, everybody's trying to kill you. Or you might even say that Silksong is worse. You might say Farloom is a lot worse off because everybody's tougher and the kingdom's still alive and corrupt and everything, right? But I think there's a difference. I think there's a big difference. The key thing, maybe I can actually make a visual. Or we'll just go with the wiki for no reason. I haven't made the video yet, but I did go to Whiteward a few days ago. So I know that there's a difference now. It's not arbitrary, like the infection kind of, okay? The difference between these two places, the infection just gets everybody, and basically the majority of people. Let's say 95% of people are just infected because they're part of the kingdom, they like the kingdom, and that means that they're an enemy of the light, as they call it, right? Basically everybody. If you go in there and you're like, wow, look at all this cool architecture, look at all these cool things, you're an enemy of the state, basically, and you're probably going to get targeted by the infection. That's just how it works. They say the Mantis people, like, look at them. You see these people right here? Actually, you can't really because I'm in the way. You know what? They got away with it because, you know, they have a better mind. No, they never got into the kingdom. They did not care. All the fungal people were fine because fungi love colonialism. That's their whole way of life. That's just how they do things. Mycelium, they do that. Okay, they love that place. Moth people, I'm not sure. And everybody else, they love hollowness. They fell under the Pale King. So they get infected, right? This rant is going somewhere. Just give me a second. Now you might say, well, what about the Weavers? You know, the Deepness people. Why did they get infected? And they're not part of the kingdom. Yes, they are. Because right at the end, like last minute, that covenant between Pale King and Hera, right? All of a sudden, they're a key enemy of the Radiance. You know why? Because they're a third of the reason why the Radiance is trapped, okay? So I'm not sure this whole thing is even about, like, having a great mind or whatever. You just... come on. I don't know. It's just a thought. Now, I think Farlam is actually a lot safer. Because, unlike Hollowness, what happens with Farlam, I guess I can't really show a map, because that would be spoilers for my own self. But the thing about Silksong is that there's a lot more NPCs that are actually alive and hanging around. There's a lot more pilgrims. There's a lot more people that, yes, they're a lot tougher, but I think that's the point. Because the haunting is not actually hard enough for everyone to just perish in 5 minutes after showing up there. But it's hard. So if you're hardy enough, you do actually survive. So it's a kingdom that, well, yes, technically the enemies are harder to fight. It's only just hard enough in-universe to actually make you a hardier person, and there's a lot more people just hanging around. There's that bartender guy, there's the, you know, there's Grindel, there's all these different characters just hanging around doing their thing. Meanwhile, in Hollownest, the reason most people are alive is because they just showed up, or they're in this weird corner like Nailmaster or all the Rancid Egg people and all them folks. They're just in weird corners. Nobody finds them. Basically. So I'm thinking, honestly, to me, because now what I know about Whiteward and everything, I honestly think it's kind of more like this. I'm gonna be real. Oh yeah, see you, main. I missed the whole thing. I'm thinking this. Although it probably should be more like that, to be honest, because it still is pretty bad. It's just that B is kind of more like a mixed bag section, you know? Maybe it is. I don't know. I think this is what it is. If you suddenly wake up in Hollowness, you're probably gonna like the kingdom. You're gonna think it was so grand and everything, and you're probably gonna get targeted. Farlow, you just gotta know how to use a needle well and make a good living. With that being said, Journey. There's not a lot to say about Journey. It's just a couple hours long. I mean, the whole idea is you kind of just... You have this specific path that you go up, and eventually you make it to the end, to the Great Beyond, and then you come back and you help somebody else go to the Great Beyond. And then you go there, and then you help somebody else go to the Great Beyond. And it's another kind of pilgrimage in that way. I think as a native, like if this is what your world is, this is very fulfilling. If you were somebody that was from here, and I think I'll say this later about some of the other ones, at least one other one I have this kind of sentiment with. If you're an in-universe character doing this cycle, this is very fulfilling. If you're somebody like us, and you stepped anywhere like Isekai style, you just showed up there, could get pretty boring after a while, I'm gonna be honest. Eventually. But it is very fulfilling. That looks right. That looks right. That looks right. Time loop. It is a time loop. Kind of. It's more like a rebirth thing, you know? I guess cycle would make more sense in my head. Like, it goes around and around in a circle rather than just, it's the same event happening over again? Because, I don't know. Hyper Light Drifter. I feel kind of biased towards Drifter for some reason, because I kind of just like how the world feels, but I need to look at this objectively, and objectively, it is kind of bad. There's that disease. Honestly, I don't remember exactly why the disease is just happening, but it is happening. And technically, in 4/5 of the map, there's like some terrorist event happening. You know, just they're coming out of the ocean, they're coming out of the sky, you know, taking your eggs, taking your lives. But in the middle, there is still a lot of camaraderie going on. If you're not the Drifter, I think you're like 50-50 on whether or not you'll be fine. I mean, what does a Drifter have? Because, like, they were probably gonna die tomorrow, you know, if they didn't make it. I mean, it did happen. Spoiler alert, it did happen. But at the same time, that middle town is pretty nice. Like, if you didn't wait, if you weren't living in one of those other areas, or you made it out somehow and you were in that little main town, it is very nice. Quiet shops. They got little soccer games every now and then. Oh no, I mean, it's kind of like Stardew, where, to be honest, this doesn't sound very much different than other places in real life. I'm gonna be real. Still kind of bad. I really wanted to reserve mid-tier for, like, really mixed bag stuff. Like, it depends, but I'm gonna be real. This is kind of making sense. Yeah, I think it's mid. To live there, the game is not mid, okay? Just, again, this is not objective. Yeah, I think that works. Should change the music at some point. There we go. Well, it was Bile-Water, now it's Greymore. Man, if you don't know what Bile-Water is, it's like, this is incredible. Once you know, it's like, oh no, not this one, please. You know, Minecraft isn't really an indie game, but I wanted to talk about it anyway. So, Minecraft is a huge mixed bag. Because it really depends. It really depends on who you ask and what interpretation you take. Which is the point. That was their whole idea. They've even said recently, like, they have a certain number of people that have the lore and do not talk about it with anybody else. It is supposed to be completely subjective. If you take, for example, like, I think they're called Bright Goat on Tumblr or something. They have a system where, of course, you know, you can respawn, and there's this whole thing with that where there's this immortal being, and there's like nobody else that's like that, and it's just this whole mess, and you can't talk to anybody, basically. And the world is your oyster. Music slightly loud again? Shouldn't be. Oh well. Now I can barely hear it. Oh well. If you take more of my kind of perspective, I take a more like Minecraft Dungeons, the Art Villager book kind of perspective. There isn't respawning. It's not gamified. You're another... Players are still, like, powerful beings, but, you know, they're people, you know? And either way, the world's your oyster. Are you changing the volume in Streamlabs or on the track itself? Well, not in Streamlabs. Are you saying that it doesn't care? Oh well, I'll just turn it down all the way down then. Is that better for you? Maybe. Silence. Oh well. I think it was fine the first time you changed it. Now it's hardly there. So you're saying it was okay the way that I did it. Alright, you know what? Oh well. If I can go on a tangent... The thing is, I don't know if we consider this that you show up as like a Steve equivalent, or if you wake up and you're like a villager or a piglin or something else. That really changes the dynamic, to be honest. But at the end of the day, the world is still your oyster if you choose to do it. If I can have a random tangent that's not really relevant, I think we'll just put this. This is like the most mixed bag, I think. No, there's one more mixed bag in here. Yeah, I think this is a huge mixed bag. But if I can have a tangent, I do have this huge headcanon that, like, the Nether was not... It's not supposed to be the way it is. like, it started out as just like a Blackstone cold dimension, and it's when the overworld, you know, player people showed up and they did all their little soul magic and everything, that caused it to be all awful. Maybe they caused some volcanic explosion, and that caused it to be the way it is and hot and everything. Plus, I mean, the Blackstone turning red is kind of self-explanatory with all the war stuff that went on. That's kind of my idea. I think something like that went on. Which, to be honest, makes a lot more sense with, like, the happy gas thing. They like cold stuff. I'm just saying. That's not relevant to this, but I wanted to say that. It really depends on how you interpret this game. It's also not an indie game. I just wanted to bring up that one point. That's the only reason it's in here. Mio. I can't speak for Mio too much, because it depends on if you're watching this before or after it actually comes out. But the demo, from what I could tell, pretty good game, by the way. It's kind of reminds me of Ori a bit, at least with the actual game part of it. But if I remember correctly, the world is kind of corrupting in a way, but generally it's kind of fine. Like, yeah, it's dangerous. It's kind of like Farloam, but I think it's generally a lot safer. Yeah, I think it's basically the same thing as Farloam. Like, there's just some situation going on, but it's a little more targeted why this infection is spreading. But on the other hand, it could be like Hollow Knight 2, where it is targeted. I don't know, it's just a lot more chill. People are more welcoming. Well, no, the bosses weren't. Is this another mixed bag? You made the demo, right? Or how bad was the world? Like, it's just kind of old, you know, it just... This was kind of a last-minute addition, so I didn't really think about this one too much. I did not play the demo. Crap. My one extra witness here. Well, I don't want to put everything in mixed bag. It's kind of better. It's better than Drifter, though. It's definitely better than Drifter, is the thing. I think that makes sense. Is it really that safe, though? Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's just there's fixing. It says they're hiding from something, though. I don't remember what it was. Yeah, I think top of A is fine. This A-tier world. I think Journey could go up there instead, actually. Yeah. One Shot. I do really like One Shot. Now, we're not considering this off of, you know, up until the world ends. We're thinking right before Nickel shows up, just like everyday life. What are we thinking here? And it's okay. It's just a nice, you know, world. There's some problems going on. I think I could think it could go maybe like, yeah, that makes sense. I think it could be like top of A. There's some issues. There's the glitch things going on and so on. But generally, people are okay. Like, there's things to worry about. But again, it's kind of just, it's just real life. It just, the problems are different. It's a smaller world. Just like small country issues, you know? Imagine being one of the random NPCs during Solstice Route. Again, true, but that's not what we're saying here, right? We're just saying if you're just some bird in the Glen just every day, still waiting on Messiah to show up, you know, again, like real life. Honestly, could go an S. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I think it's an S. Yeah. And then maybe we can move Journey. Yeah. Yep, I think that's good. Savior shows up and suddenly everything is falling apart. True. Yeah, it gets really bad in like a few minutes if you do it properly. Because when I did Solstice Route, I did not know what to do with... I said this last stream, but I did not know what to do with the clover on the ground, and I just started doing a normal run. Everything was okay. It's as soon as you just decide to just go down a dark, not alleyway, cave. You go just start walking down a dark cave, and all of a sudden things are getting really bad. Computer starts yelling at you. It's awful. But I think everyday life, it's okay. It's like real life, just small world. And then this was a joke. I didn't have much to say on this. To be honest, well, first of all, D tier, yeah, immediate D. I don't think people really think about just, like, I know we're a little desensitized, but you gotta consider just how bad it is when everybody is dying all around you. And you gotta just quickly, you gotta get rid of more people yourself. Just get rid of them. Just throw them out into space and you'll be fine, you know? It'll totally be fine. This is bad. This is really bad. I mean, okay, you're like, okay, well, what if I win and I survive? Okay, you win and you survive and you're the only one on this ship now? Are you okay with that? Are you really okay with that? Although, on the other hand, maybe that's just kind of a normal thing that happens. Maybe in that world, there's just a whole bunch of different ships going around with these little bean guys. And they just drop. It's just what happens. And you just refill again. Maybe, you know, conspiracy theory, maybe that happens. Maybe they're just printing beans. Bean people. But yeah, D. Anyway. And then we have the big rain game. We're not talking about that one yet. The big rain game. Rain World. D. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But am I kidding? Rain World is awful. Like, I think people get so fixated on the little kitty cat that they don't think about just the idea of being immortal in a fallen world. Sounds like one of my worst nightmares. That sounds awful. I know people want immortality, but you gotta be really... This is an example of what happens when you get there. First of all, what do you do with infinite time? You make giant stuff for no reason? Why do we need... If you remember the Watcher, what are any of those things for? I don't know. You just make things easier? You make things easier, what are you gonna do anymore? You know? These people wanted to get out. It'd be fine to be in the cities. Well... think about it though, with the ideologies that they started making, it started to get pretty rough. And they started contradicting themselves. It's bad. It's really bad. Now, you can make it work, you know, if you're Gourmand, if you're certain people, you can make it okay. Frustratingly, though, the thing about this is actually a frustrating mixed bag. This is the mixed bag of mixed bags. Because the biggest problem is also the biggest plus of this dimension. Because, well, then what's the risk? I mean, if I have an extra fictional and I go in there, you can be there however long you want. At least for yourself. The issue with that, then, is the part, which is probably why it should be, like, lower B, is because it's very easy to lose things in the cycle. It's also easy to lose people in the cycle if you bring in Downpour into account. I don't even know Watcher lore, so don't even bring up Watcher lore. I don't know what was going on in that place, but you can lose a lot of things. But to yourself, there's not really any risk, especially if you have a good mentality. If you have a bad mentality, yeah, you might lose your marbles. You can also lose your marbles in that world pretty easily. But frustratingly, it's right in the middle for this one reason. The other Rain game, on the other hand, I think is definitely a D. I think it's the lowest on here. And unlike with Rain World, I don't think I'll be gotten after for this. I think everybody knows this. The game is already hard. For one thing, it's a roguelite. You're gonna lose a lot. Sometimes every 10 minutes, it's gonna happen, or 5 minutes. Or you'll go on for an hour and then it'll happen, you know? But you only need to read like 1 or 2 logs inside the game to realize this world is bad. This planet is awful. Everything is trying to kill you. It is an actual war zone, and unlike a war zone in real life, okay, there are no trenches, and there are no formations for you to easily understand and run away from. No, it's just explosions on every side. And the thing is, then you might say, oh, what about the cool items? No. Okay? As an extra fictional, there is no reason to go in here, okay? I know the items are tempting to just snag and leave that dimension. Not a good idea. It's not worth it. And then you might consider, okay, well, Ibex, what about all those factions that we got there? All those gods that they have in that place? Surely seeking one of them's favor would actually help you out. Well, you have 4 options. Okay? You have a god of blood. The god of blood basically just sought that so much that they took out their own life. And somehow expect you to do the same thing. There's a god of mass. The only thing that they want to do is drag you up and put you up in their little collection prison in the ocean for some reason. You have a god of design. Surely he's great. You know, he's the guy that's still alive. You know, and got double-crossed and everything. Surely he would be a great one to fall under and seek his favor. I mean, the whole reason that he wants your favor is so that he can immediately leave the planet and go figure out his own design, his own self, and help himself out. He's not going to leave you. Or he's not going to take you with you. He's leaving. I'm pretty sure he's just going to leave on his own. And then you have your beloved Providence. They call him the god of soul, of compassion. Saved everybody. Surely he would be great. But why would you trust him if he can't even keep his own relationships intact. So yeah, this place is just lava. This is just D. Terrible D. Like, do not go there. It's bad. You can risk going into rain world, you cannot risk going into rain. And I did not think of that joke till just now. True Nova. Man, maybe I should make lore videos. Outer Wilds, the beloved favorite game of a very small portion of the population who decided to play it. Now, as if you somehow Isaac-eyed in here, it would get kind of boring. I think just canonically the planets in there are tiny. To be honest, I think that's just how it works. But if you're somebody that's grown up there, it's very exciting. There's a lot of exciting things going on. People going up into space, learning about these ancient peoples, different phenomena of the universe. It sounds amazing. That's great, and there's a lot of excitement. That's actually pretty good, and there's not, you know, there's some explosions. Maybe it's like a low A or high B, you know? Now that's as like the main character species. If you consider the other species, that's not so great. One of them is dead, and the other one is... Well, technically they're also dead. So, they're not doing so well. I think every species other than the Hearthians are not doing so well. Other than the anglerfish. I think anglerfish are just kind of chilling in their little tree jacuzzi, just hanging out. They're doing great. But yeah, I think it's probably like... Now, there is that one, you know, there's that time loop thing. I know you want to bring that up. If you're in the time loop, in this theoretical scenario, I'm not sure. If you Isaac hide in there, it'd be great. Or if you're an extra fictional, you need to kind of hide somewhere for a while, that's a great spot. If you're just somebody there and you got roped into it, that kind of depends on who you are. You know, if you're Gabbro, you're totally fine. You just, you know, you don't care. It kind of depends. Maybe it could be like high B, you know. B's too much. I think it's, yeah. What about being Isaac hide into the ending universe? Not... I mean, that universe is just beginning, though. That's the thing. So you got a lot of time. You know, it's not going to end in 5 minutes, you know, however long it takes. But we don't know. That's your own interpretation. That would make it a B, because we have no idea. It'd be just like Minecraft. You got no idea. It looks cool. You could probably... It'd be easier to jump into the sun, because it's like right there. There's more of them. And then there's Tunic. I have looked into Tunic lore. First of all, it doesn't really explain the lore well enough when you play it. You have to actually study the game afterwards to understand. Which sounds like every game, but I really mean it. Like, nobody tells you what's going on, really. You watch one lore video and you're like, this is dark. This is really dark, and you had basically no idea that it was that bad. It's that bad. Now, as somebody every day living there, well, I'm gonna be honest. It might be a D. I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna be honest with you, okay? Because if we look at it objectively, it's basically the same as Risk of Rain, isn't it? Everything is trying to kill you, including the people that are not dead. They're also trying to kill you for some reason. And if you weren't the main character, okay, if you said that, okay, you're not the main character, they'll totally not kill you. Well, half the things trying to kill you are wild animals, and the other half, I don't know why they're infected, but they are, and they're also trying to kill you. So, it's basically Risk of Rain, but in less polygons. And then we're left with one more. Yeah, it's pretty good. A caveat here, okay? It is a small world. And there are a few issues where you could get into a crippling gambling or heating plants or fishing addiction. That could happen. That's why it's not up here. But you know, you could spend a while trying to get a specific fish, but otherwise it's okay. You know? It's also incredible I don't have a webcam, because I'm doing a lot of, like, hand movements for some reason. But do we have any objections to this list? I don't think so. I think it makes sense. Maybe we could put this up here, actually. Hey. Why does this site... There we go. I don't know why this site has such an issue with putting something in front. Oh, now it's going to do it. Now it's going to do it just fine now that I'm saying it. I think this makes sense. So, now if you're an extra fictional, this order maybe changed around a little bit. Silksong would probably be... Both of these would probably be higher up. Because when you're an extra fictional, it's a little different. Because you're trying to, like my OC, because you're kind of trying to find cool things. It'd be a little different, because there's not a lot to glean from, like, animal well or web fishing. But Risk of Rain is still off limits. Do not go there. Please no. But with that, that was... Wow, 45 minutes. That was it? 45 minutes of me yapping for some reason because I wanted to. Thanks for watching.